Hope you're fine and well this bank holiday weekend. It's Saturday morning and end of August bank holiday. Going on a little ride to Andover Plannies. It's a place that I used to frequent when I was a young boy. I lived in Andover. We didn't really have any money, so to speak. Well, none. Quite poor. So we used to make our own entertainment. We used to go to a place called the Plannies. It was basically an old clay pit where they mined the clay and basically left these big holes in the ground, and then eventually over time all these trees grew up in the area and it's just been left. And basically lots of people just tend to go there, and well, we used to go there when we were kids on our push bikes and later on our motorbikes, just to hang out and meet people and play in this really sort of wonderful off-road playground. It's great. And I thought I've got the opportunity to take you with me on my little adventure today, and go and have a bit of fun. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I hope you enjoy it. It's quite a long way. It's about an hour and 40, an hour and 3/4, so mainly boring roads, so I won't be videoing at all. We'll be heading through the Black Downs and then onto the A3. I thought I'd share some of my thoughts with you. I've been I joined this group. It's called 1 Year No Beer on Facebook, and I haven't had a drink now for over 4 months, coming up for my 5th month. Yeah, I'm feeling okay about that. I don't really crave it now and again, but there's this group, 1 Year No Beer, Facebook, recommend it. And basically it's just a mutual support group for people that are trying to give up alcohol. And it's not about succeeding, it's about trying. So people put posts on, they might put, well, being free of alcohol for a few days, a few weeks, a few months, or whatever it might be. And some people will say, I fell off the wagon last night and I had a drink and I'm feeling really bad. So I just try and support people on there, and I'm not the only one. It's really good. And I thought I'd there was a post this morning. It was about this person that basically fell off the wagon and started drinking again, and saying that I feel really ashamed and bad that I tried and I failed, and I think this is one of the things that we're very hard on ourselves, when we attempt to do something and we fail. And it can be really, really counterproductive, because we denigrate ourselves, we put ourselves down, make us feel worthless, and that makes you feel like giving up, on yourself. It's really sad. And it's not only that sort of attitude towards ourselves. You might think it stops here, the buck stops here, that it doesn't affect anyone else, but it does. We are immersed in communities, families, cultures, and we can't fail to affect others and the environment through our attitude towards ourselves. And this is one of the wonderful things that I discovered through self-realisation, or through self-study and meditation. One of the wonderful things I learned about myself was through Vipassana meditation. I've been on a few, but meditation retreats in Hereford, where you practice this technique. It's called Vipassana. It's basically about observing body sensations without reacting to them. And this relates to what I was talking about, because I replied to this person's post and I was saying, you know, you shouldn't be so hard on yourself. It's about, you know, at least you're making the effort and trying, and you've seen that you want to be free, and that's a starting point. Because we all attempt to do things, don't we, and we fail and we think, oh, I can't do it, I'm shit, and you give up and you feel really bad about yourself. But really we shouldn't, because it's, you know, the seeing is the initial step. We can try and we can fail, we can try, we can fail, but we're seeing, and we're, you know, and we should feel good about that. Even if we fail, it doesn't matter, we've got another chance. There's many moments in life, not just one. You know, I said on the post that the problem is the habit patterns of the mind, and you know, it is Buddhist teachings, but I'll share them with you. And I'm not sharing because someone else told me. I'm sharing because I've realised it myself through my own experience. When you start to observe the mind, you see that it's made up basically of three basic elements. You know, our desires, and the things we don't want, and the things that we don't feel really affect us. So that's ignorance. So it's craving, what we want; aversion, what we push away, reject, what we feel aggressive towards; and ignorance, which is the middle ground. It's like, well, it doesn't matter, it doesn't bother me, nothing to do with me. So that's sort of like the three basic habit patterns of the mind. So and you know, to a degree, some of it is necessary. Got someone at my bum going to overtake me in a minute. You know, for self-preservation, we don't want to freeze to death. So we put clothes on, we want to feel comfortable and warm. We don't want to be endangered, so we avoid danger to protect our lives. But then the mechanism becomes more and more refined, and we become more finicky. So we're constantly seeking, craving and desiring pleasure, and have an aversion towards anything that doesn't bring us pleasure. So this creates a lot of restlessness. So we're constantly sort of seeking, searching, and trying to modify the environment around us so that we feel very comfortable. So we're constantly trying to adjust everything to remain in this, what they call the Goldilocks zone. Not to, you know, Goldilocks and her porridge. Oh, I don't like my porridge too hot, too sweet, too cold. We're constantly doing this, which is so we never experience peace. We're tormented. And another thing about the craving aspect, you know, when we experience something that we like, maybe it's good food, or the sensation of when we drink alcohol, that warm effect in our chest, that, okay, there's nothing wrong with pleasure. There isn't, but you know, it can very quickly create a craving for more of the same. And a pattern starts to form, and that's how we become addicted to certain foods, alcohol, certain behaviours. So, I was playing a video game the other day, and on my phone, and I noticed when I completed this task that I got this sensation in my body that I wouldn't normally have noticed, but because of my practice I've been more sensitised, not desensitised, sensitised to sensation in my body. So when I completed this task, I just had this feeling here, and basically it was a release of endorphins and adrenaline into my system. I felt good about myself, I've accomplished something. You know, and that can be addictive behaviour. That can form addictive patterns in our lives. There's nothing wrong with enjoying things, and there's nothing wrong with being protective over ourselves, but it's become ridiculous. So these habit patterns of the mind they become our masters. The mind becomes our master, and we become slaves to our cravings and desires, and it's so strong. We all know this, don't we? Through, all right, I'm going to try and be on a diet, for instance. Might last a day, might last a few days, sometimes it might only last an hour or two. We give up. It's because the cravings, the patterns of the mind are so reinforced. And our initial reaction to our failure to be able to modify our desires to, you know, have some sort of rein on it is aggression. So we become aggressive. We say, right, okay, that's it. Fucking mind, you're not going to win. I'm going to win over my cravings. So basically, you're creating tension and aggression and anger. The trouble with the nature of the mind and ego, actually, is that it makes it stronger. It makes the mind stronger. The mind and the ego loves a good fight. It likes aggression. It's used to it, so it becomes stronger. So the more aggressive we become with it, the stronger it becomes. And we can't win. So in the end, we become despondent. We give up. We become depressed. We feel that we have no choice. Now the other option is to, rather than to try to force change through aggression and strength, is to just observe. And this is where meditation techniques come in. So useful, because we sit, for instance, I can be sitting for maybe 10 minutes, quarter of an hour, 20 minutes, whatever you like, and really always have this propensity to not be where I am, because I want to constantly be moving and changing, and, you know, I think, oh, this is a waste of time, or, oh, I've got a pain in my leg. So these are little sensations in the body that you feel that you should react to. Or I've got an itch on my head, so you put your hand up and scratch it before you've even realised you've done it, without even thinking. It's a blind reaction, and in a small scale, that's in a small scale, but that always happens. That also happens to us on a large scale. How we react to our environment, how we react to threats or perceived threats. We just become a slave to our impulses. It's fucking miserable. We know this. So the option is, you know, through meditation and perseverance, it doesn't come easy. It takes practice, not just to sit once or twice, but to make it a practice that we continue to do for the rest of our lives, actually. And it doesn't have to be a chore. It can, you know, to me, meditation, sitting, is as important as food and sleep and water. It's necessary for our emotional and mental health. We look after our physical health, but we don't often take much heed to our emotional and mental health, and really, you know, that should come first before our body even, because if we have a good mental and emotional health, our body we tend to look after our bodies, and because we're relaxed, we feel healthier, less stressed. It's a win-win. So anyway, getting back to what I was talking about, we begin to observe the habit patterns of the mind rather than just reacting. So you observe, oh, nice sensation, just observe, it rises, it passes away. And the same, we can have the same attitude towards negative or discomfort or even pain. We can, pain in my leg, itch on my head. Rather than scratch, we just observe. Let's watch. Let's just look. Not try to change it at all. It comes, and eventually it passes away. It stops. Even an itch, even pain, it can rise and it can pass away without us having to do anything at all about it. Just observing. And what we're doing with this technique really is trying to cultivate our minds to be less reactive to to pleasure or pain. And when we do this, we become freer. And we don't need to react, we just observe. We can just relax. We don't need to participate all the time. We can just be the observer. We can just relax, actually, when something happens. We don't always need to be on guard. Be prepared for everything and anything that might happen. What a waste of energy. How tiring is that? And how stressful is that? We can just sit and relax and observe. So we become freer. And this is how, going back to now what I talked about earlier with the alcohol or addictive behaviour is that we, instead of getting in a fight with our minds, just become an observer. So you can observe an arising for a craving, a desire, like alcohol, food, drugs, sex, whatever it might be. We can just observe, and the nature of things, anatta, I think they call it in Buddhism, is that everything arises and passes away. Everything. And with that in mind, with that truth, we can observe whatever arises, knowing that it will pass and that it can't actually really touch us, and then we can just relax. And when we relax, it goes. It just arises and it passes. If we have a fight with it, we're holding on to it, we're actually strengthening it. It's amazing. It's amazing. Nature is amazing. We don't always have to take control and to alter everything. Let's just be in it. Let's be in life. That's not, always trying to control everything. You can just relax and enjoy the ride. And I hope you can relax and enjoy the ride. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day, people. I've enjoyed talking to you, and I will see you later at the Plannies. Take care. Bye for now.